let's talk about Wall Street donations for President Obama. Now, he has gotten, of course, a ton of money in the past. In fact, Goldman Sachs was his top donor in 2008. And, you know, a lot of the donations this time around are going to Mitt Romney. Goldman Sachs is now the top donor to Mitt Romney's campaign, so they've switched sides entirely. But the question is, why are the bankers so angry at President Obama? Yes, he called them fat cats once, but has he done anything to do prosecutions, lower their pay, keep them in check in any way, shape, or form? And honestly, the answer is he's done almost nothing. There was the Dodd-Frank reform bill, which the banks love to cry about, but in reality, it says no limits on leverage, no real limits on derivatives. None of it has been enforced yet. It gets watered down and still has not been put into play. So it's curious as to what they're objecting to. In fact, a lot of the top bankers, and you remember 2007 was the year where they were peaking. They were at the height of making all that money. Now, at the underlying that money was just this rotting corpse of their banks where they had all these terrible mortgages. What in the short term, they were making money off that stuff while they were building up a long-term financial bomb, right? But even now, they've gotten back to those record bonuses. And we've told you story after story. I can just give you two examples here out of dozens. But Wells Fargo President and CEO John Stumpf made $12.6 million in 2007. Well, he's up to now $18.9 million in 2010. So he's actually making more money than he did back then. And Jamie Dimon, the JP Morgan CEO, loves to whine. Well, yeah, he made 27.8 in 2007, but he's back to 20.8 million in 2010. And in fact, a lot of these guys have now set up subsidiary corporations where they get more money from. Like, for example, Lloyd Blankfein makes a ton of money there that doesn't get reported as necessarily Goldman Sachs' salary, but he actually gets all of that as compensation on top. And then there are things like retention bonuses that the CEO of Citigroup gets. For a while, he took $1 in compensation because his company was bankrupt and in disastrous shape. Now he's getting over $20 million as a retention bonus. So they get back to getting paid tremendously. Well, how about prosecutions after all of this fraud that this system was based on? Well, the Justice Department prosecutions right now are at a 20-year low for financial fraud. Now, remember who was in office the last 20 years. We had 8 years of George W. Bush, and President Obama has broken his record and how little prosecutions he has done, even though President Obama came at a time after this enormous economic collapse caused by financial fraud. And yet the banks still complain? Because there's no end to their greed. They want more and more and more. And if President Obama gets reelected, God forbid, you know, some taxes might go up like 4%. Might. That's what President Obama said the first time around. He didn't even do it. Their taxes haven't gone up at all under President Obama, but not good enough. God forbid it should go up 4% at any point. What's Mitt Romney saying? Well, of course. He's like, look, I'm one of you guys. I worked in the finance industry. I'm a multimillionaire like you guys. Of course, I want my taxes to be lower. I'm going to make your taxes lower. The budget be damned. Who cares about a deficit? Average American, I'm going to cut their Social Security. I'm going to cut their Medicare. I'm going to cut spending on them. And I'm going to give it to you guys. So, of course, the banks are like, hey, you know what? Obama was fantastic to us. But this Mitt Romney guy might be even better. Yes, we're in. You know that Mitt Romney, if his tax plan goes into effect, he cuts his own taxes by $4 million. It's pretty convenient, let alone the taxes that he cuts for the Walton family, for Blankfein, for Jamie Dimon, all those guys. So it's unsurprising that Romney has already raised over $1 million from Goldman Sachs.